Hello, Fatman.
Hey, how's it going, Grigori?
Everything well. How are you?
Good, good. It was a good day today. Uh, Relaxed, got some work done, um, cooked, cleaned, did all the work.
Good for men. I I can't cook. I try,
Really?
but yes, I try, but my wife criticized me. No, no, not good, not tasty for her. So not.
Yeah, it's the same with my father. He says he can cook, but nobody in my family has ever tasted his food.
If I make it for myself, it was good. I like what I cook, but for family, not so much.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of a challenge when you're feeding other people. But I'm also nervous actually. Every time I cook, sometimes I feel nervous. Maybe other people won't like my food. But
Hmm.
so far, I've invited people for dinner, and they've enjoyed my food. I think they didn't say anything negative. They gave me constructive criticism, which means they are helping you.
I,
You
s-
know?
I see. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah. So they tell me, oh, maybe a little less spices next time, or something like that. You know? How's it going, Virginia? Or is it Virginia? How do you want me to pronounce your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, hello, teacher.
Hi, nice to see you.
Uh, Nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to meet you as well. Were you in one of my classes before? I think Virginia, you came to one of my classes before. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good, good. It was a good day. I think there's a lag. Let's see. We'll see what's going on here. Excuse me, guys. Did all the work. Francisco, how's it going?
Hi Farhan, how are you?
Good, good. Good to see you as well.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Yeah, yeah. Nice to see you. It's I think we will see where Virginia is. I think maybe there's a lag with our connection, so going to try to see if we can help her. But anyway, Francisco, how was your day?
Fine, fine, Farhan. It was very busy. I was working too hard. Right now, I'm ready for this class.
Ready for the lesson? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Hey, Heidi, how's it going?
Hello, nice to see you again.
Yep, nice to see you as well. Uh, so Virginia, I was wondering if you can hear me. I just wanted to know how your day was. How was your day?
Hmm?
How was your day?
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Today
Yes,
was great.
that's great.
I worked very much. I
You worked a
worked
lot?
hard.
Uh-huh. You worked a
Yes,
lot?
yes,
Great, great, great.
yes.
Are
And
you
you?
so yeah, yeah, my day was good. I was relaxing. I enjoyed working. I went outside. Today was a nice day here. Weather, it wasn't rainy, it wasn't too cold, so I was able to go outside and work with
Mhm.
or just walk and work and stuff like that. So it worked out. But how do I pronounce your name? Do I say Virginia or do I say Virginia?
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, I'm sorry because
Yes,
I
yes.
noticed
No problem.
the accent. So yeah, I'll call you Virginia. That's easier.
Uh-huh.
And are you from Brazil, Virginia?
I'm from Brazil.
You're from
I
Brazil. Okay.
live in I live in Minas Gerais state.
Minas Gerais. Belo
Yes.
Horizonte.
And near Belo Horizonte,
Near Belo. Okay.
Divinópolis,
I
Divinópolis City.
uh-huh. I don't know that city unfortunately. I only know Belo Horizonte.
No,
Yeah. I don't know anything about Brazil. I
Uh,
just know some things. Maybe the big cities and some of the states. That's it.
have you ever go to Brazil?
No, I haven't, but I
Uh-huh.
want to visit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, okay, yeah, guys, thank you so much, Virginia. Welcome to class, Heidi, Francisco, also.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. We lost a couple people. Uh, we had Gregory in the class very briefly. I think maybe he was disconnected. And Marcelo, I guess you're watching the class and not joining. Hopefully everything is okay as well. So everyone, welcome. I just wanted to begin today by talking about uh, the two main topics. I'm just going to briefly introduce them. So we are going to learn about modals of ability today, right? And modals of ability and permission, actually, both of them. And modals of ability and permission are used when we are talking about things we can do and when we try to get permission from other people. They rely on the same words. So the same modals can be used for both ability and for permission. So that's the first part. I'm going to go into more details about that in a few minutes. The second part of the class, we are going to learn about history, actually. So it's an article about history. Earlier this month, actually, October, I believe it was maybe 7 or 8, I don't remember exactly, but the second Tuesday in October, at least, I'm sorry, the second Monday in October, at least in the United States, is always celebrated as Columbus Day. Columbus Day was created to celebrate the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, who, in many other languages, I actually don't know. I don't know about Portuguese, unfortunately, Virginia, but in Spanish, we call him Cristobal Colon. I believe his name is Colon Francisco, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
Yes, Cristobal Colon.
Cristobal Colon, yeah. So I think that's how you write his last name. I don't actually remember. But so this is the man that in history, in at least American history and Western history, we believe that everybody knows that he discovered America, even though
What's
there were many people here before. Yeah, Virginia, go
teacher?
ahead.
What's the date? What's the date to celebrate Columbus
The,
Day?
it's the second Monday in October in the United States. We always celebrate it on the second Monday
Oh,
in
okay.
October. Yeah,
That's a
because
Here in Mexico, we celebrate Christopher Columbus the 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 12th.
the 12th of October, right?
Yeah, October the 12th.
Exactly, right? And October the 12th is actually, I think, the real day, but for some reason, because in the United States, we want to have a long weekend. We'd like to have 3-day weekends, so we make it the second Monday of October, so that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all 3 days are off, right? So people get that extra holiday. So that's really the idea, and we're going to learn about how, honestly, he didn't discover America, right? He was the first European, maybe, or was he? That's the question, right? When we learn about history, we always learn that Cristobal Colon or Christopher Columbus was the first person to discover America. Well, that's definitely not true because there were many people here, there were many humans here. But he also really was not the first European to discover America because there was another person who came before him, right? So we're going to learn about that person. And before I go on, Marcelo, tudo beleza?
Tudo beleza, professor?
No, that's great. That's great, Marcelo. Welcome to class. Welcome to class.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You speak.
So yeah, Virginia, I speak just one phrase in Portuguese. That's tudo
Yeah.
beleza. That's it. I don't know anything
I
else.
think that you speak Portuguese
No,
very well.
no, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm learning. Hopefully, I can learn. But yeah, Marcelo taught me Marcelo was my teacher, and he taught me that phrase, so now I always use it with my teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, welcome again. So let's get started, guys. Modals of ability and permission, okay? First of all, when we say modals in English, what are we talking about, right? Modals in the broad sense, okay? Modals are words that are used to describe the mood of a verb, right? So the word modal comes from mood, right? And what is a mood of a verb? It could be many different things. It could be, for example, ability. Does the verb allow you to speak about someone's ability or your ability? It could also be about possibility. Does the verb allow you to mention something that is possible or not possible, right? And there are many other conditions that modals are used for, right? So two important things about modal verbs, right? Modal verbs are not conjugated. They're not changed. So you don't say, for example, there's no differences between, for example, the modal can, right? One of the modal verbs we are going to look at today is can, right? I can, you can, he can, she can, we can, they can. It's always the same word for every subject, right? So we don't conjugate, we don't change the modal verb, right? And so that's the first part. The second part is we cannot use the modal just by itself. It doesn't make sense, right? So I can't say I can water, right? I can water. That doesn't work. I can drink water, right? So drink is that second verb that always comes with the modal. And so the modal always needs another verb with it, and it is never changed from its base form, from its original form, right? So those are two things that we are going to look at. And in particular, we are going to focus on three types of modals of ability and permission. Okay? So these three modal verbs are used when we talk about our ability. I can speak Spanish. Okay? That's my ability. I can speak English, right? So these three modals are can, could, and may, right? Can, could, and may. So we are going to learn about the differences when we use can, when we use could, when we use may, right? And remember the two big things, we don't change the form of the verb. It's always the same word, and they need to be joined with other verbs in a sentence, right? They can't just stand alone in a sentence, then they don't make sense, right? So to get started, guys, let us look at the question that I made for some of you guys, right? So my question to you is not even a question. I just want you guys to tell me something you can do really well. Something you can do really well. For example, I can make Indian food really well, right? I know how to make Indian food. My mom taught me. I can make Indian food very well, right? So, Francisco, what can you do very well?
Well, I can do some programming very well.
Fantastic. So I can do programming very well, right? What kinds of languages, Francisco, can you program?
Well, most of the time I've been programming with C# or C, C++, Visual Basic.
That's awesome. So Visual Basic, C++, all that kind of stuff, right? I don't know any of that stuff, right? So I cannot program just basic HTML.
Okay.
Very, very, very basic, right?
Yeah.
Heidi, what can you do very well?
I can sew any clothes.
I can sew. Okay, that's awesome. So you can sew. Does it matter what type of clothing it is, or you can sew any? Really?
Anything to wear.
Anything to wear. Wow, that's awesome, right? So even socks and.
Sock. Yeah, if I try, maybe.
Yeah, for me, I always think of when somebody's sewing from the cartoons. I remember somebody sewing socks. So for me, I always remember socks. But I know that, I mean, people who can sew really sew. Do you sew by hand, or do you sew by sewing machine, or do you do both?
Yeah, sewing machine. I use sewing machine.
Sewing machine as well. Awesome, awesome. So Heidi can sew very well, right? Sew is spelled S-E-W, when you're sewing clothes, if you guys didn't know. And we heard from Francisco that he can program very well. Marcelo, what do you do very well? What can you do very well?
I work very well. I swim very well.
So I walk very well. I can walk very well. I can swim very well as well. I can swim very
Yeah.
well.
I work very well.
Oh, work very well. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So yeah, that's two great things, right? Specifically about working, what can you, in what way can you work really well? Like what kind of job can you do very well?
Sales.
Sales. Okay, so
Sales.
so you're a good salesman.
Yeah.
You can sell anything.
20 years. Just
Wow.
selling things.
That's awesome. So you're an expert in sales. I can sell very well. I can sell things very well, and I can swim very well. Fantastic. And last but not least, Virginia, what can you do very well?
I can cook. I can cook very well.
Fantastic. I can cook very well, right? I can
Uh-huh.
cook very well. So what kind of food can you cook very well, Virginia?
Lasagna.
Lasagna, fantastic. Lasagna.
Kibe.
Kibe. I don't know that one, unfortunately.
Kibe. In English, I don't know how. Kibe is a Arabic food.
Kibe. I think we say kibe in Arabic. Kibe. Yeah.
Kibe.
I've heard that before. Okay. Kibe. Fantastic. Yeah, in English we say kibe, right? I only know one Brazilian food, Virginia, and that's feijoada. I don't know. I don't know anything else.
No. Do you believe? I don't cook feijoada.
No, I have no idea how to make it. I just heard from somebody.
I never.
You never made it?
I never make the feijoada.
Interesting. I think it's from North Brazil, right? Bahia state in the north, right? I think they eat a lot of feijoada in the north of Brazil.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. So Virginia, you can cook very well, right? Thanks for sharing. And so Marcelo, you wanted to know, for instance, your shoe is sew, or my shoe is sewing. So do you want to say you are sewing your shoe?
No, not exactly. For instance, I have a shoe that is just for instance, the past sew. How can you say the past? Sew.
I sewed something. I sewed.
So my shoe is sewed.
With shoe, we actually don't use sew because shoes are very kind of difficult. So they usually say that. Well, I guess you can say it. My shoes were sewed by the lady at the store, for example, right? My shoes were sewed by somebody, right? But really, with shoes, we don't say sew so much because it's kind of a tough fabric or tough material. So sometimes they just say, my shoes were repaired, if you're talking about repaired, or they say my shoes were, made by whoever, right? We use repair a lot. For example, in the big stores, they say shoe repair, available.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Virginia is when you have. How do you say it? Do you know, Marcelo? Could you help us out with "so" in Portuguese?
Em português é costurar, costurado.
Ah, tá. What's pronunciation?
So.
Okay.
Yeah, we say "so" in English, even though it's written with an EW, it's pronounced "so."
So, thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. De nada. So, all right, guys, fantastic. So, thank you for sharing. Now let's go into what are the different types of modals of ability and permission. So the first one we looked at was can, right? So we can say when we are talking about somebody that can do something, just like all of you guys right now, right? You used I, can, whatever, very well, right? So same situation, subject plus the verb can, then another verb. I can cook very well. My mother can drive very well. My sister can draw very well. Heidi can sew very well, right? So that's the first type of construction. Simply the subject plus can plus another verb, right? So it's very simple, right? That's how we make that construction using can, right? The second type of word that we have is could, right? So could we use to talk about ability in the past, right? Maybe it's something that there are two types. For example, the idea is that you used to be able to do this, but you can't do it anymore, right? I once could sleep just 3 hours a night, right? When I was a child, I could sleep 12 hours a day, but you can't do that anymore, right? So, yeah, I'm sorry, Virginia, go ahead.
Sorry. Could is the past of can or no?
Yes, technically, yep. Could is the past tense of can, right? Because we don't really say canned. Canned is not an English word in that sense. Canned means something else. So could is used in the past tense, yeah. So it's used to say if you were able to do something in the past, but you can't do it anymore, right? I could drive any kind of car, right? But now maybe you're older and you like with very old people, they can't drive because they have very bad eyesight, right? They have very bad vision, so they can't drive that well, right? So I could, and then a verb talks about something that you did in the past, that you could do in the past, right? But that you don't really but you really can't do anymore, right? So, and then there's another type of could that I'm going to share with you guys, right? If you say could have in a sentence, right, then you're expressing that you had an ability or an opportunity to do something, but you didn't do it. If you use could have, right? I could have gone to medical school, but I didn't want to, right? I could have helped my mother with the cooking, but I was watching Colingo, whatever. Something you were doing that you could have changed what you did, but you didn't, right? Excuse me, guys. Sorry. So that's what we see with could, right? Could by itself.
Bless you.
Thank you. Obrigado, Marcelo. Obrigado.
De nada.
So we have could have is when we talk about something where you had a choice or an ability that you didn't do. And then the other option with just could is just the past tense of can, right? Something you were able to do that you don't do anymore, right? I could go to sleep. I could sleep in every single day when I was younger or when I was a teenager, right? Several, yes, several means many, Virginia. It's another way of saying many. That's right. And then Marcelo, you wrote, she could speak several languages. They couldn't dance very well. Fantastic, right? Both of those mean that, for example, she was able to speak several languages, but not anymore, right? And then they couldn't dance very well. Oh, they were unable to dance very well, right? They couldn't dance very well. Maybe now they do, maybe now they don't, right? When we use the could not, it's a little bit of a different situation, and we're going to look at that in just a few minutes. So could you guys, actually, before I move on, Juan, welcome to class. How's it going?
Hi everybody.
Good. Everyone's good. Okay, guys. So then let's start with Francisco on the left, please. Francisco, could you please give me a sentence with could, and then another sentence with. Actually, let's just do could. One sentence with could, please.
Okay. I could have been a doctor, but I couldn't afford the career.
Fantastic. So you actually used could have, right? Which is great. I could have become a doctor, but I couldn't afford the career, right? Or that career. Fantastic. You used both could, you used both could not and could have, right? Fantastic. Heidi, your turn, please.
I could have traveled to France, Paris, but I needed to go to my husband's hometown.
I could have visited France and Paris, but I decided to go to my husband's hometown, or I needed to go to my husband's hometown, right? Juan, I know you joined a little late, but all we are using here is the subject plus could and then any other verb. So, for example, I could, you know, I could speak Arabic, but I forgot, right, or something like that. Or if you want, you can say could have, and then you can talk about a situation that you maybe had the idea or had the ability to go to or accomplish, but you didn't. So, for example, I could have visited my parents, but I decided to see my friends, right? So those kinds of situations, either one, you can use could or could have.
Okay, what about, for example, I could have, or I could be on time at this class, but I didn't notice the time.
Right? So I could have attended this class, but I didn't notice the time, right? Fantastic. You could have. Well, you are attending the class right now, Juan, right? So maybe you should say, I could have joined the class on time, but I didn't notice the clock, or I didn't notice the time, right? I could have joined the class on time, or I could have joined the class at 9 o'clock, right? Fantastic. So those are two good ways of saying that. Marcelo, please go ahead with one more example. I know you wrote two here, but we'll see one more.
I could have danced all night, but I had to head out.
Fantastic. I could have danced all night, but I had to head out, right? And Virginia, last but not least, if you could give us a sentence with could or could have. Virginia, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Just now I was able to hear you, Virginia. I didn't hear anything before.
Yes, I could have buy a new car.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have any money.
Uh-huh. So the one thing I want to say is you did a very, very good job, Virginia, but we can't use could have by, right? We need to make it in the past tense. The verb has to be in the past tense, right? Because could is also in the past tense. So what would the past tense of by be?
Okay, I could have bought a new car.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't have money.
Fantastic, fantastic, perfect. I could have bought a new car.
At the moment. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. I could have bought a new car, but I didn't have money at the moment. Right?
At the moment, yeah.
Fantastic. I could have bought a new car, but I didn't have enough money at the moment. Or money at the moment, right? Yeah. Fantastic, fantastic. Guys, do we have any questions on this idea of could and could have, and also from before when we use can? Any questions about can, could, and could have?
No, it's clear to me.
It's clear? Okay, awesome, awesome. What about you guys? Any of you guys? Other people?
No question.
Everyone's good? Okay.
Okay, for you.
All right. So the next thing, guys, I wanted to say is that you guys have already seen this, but when we want to make could or can negative, we can easily do so. We can say could not, or we could say cannot, right? I cannot cook Brazilian food, right? I can cook Indian food, right? Or, for example, I had no time, so I couldn't work on the project, right? Everything is past tense. I had no time, so I couldn't work on the project, right? And there's just one other thing I want to mention, guys, and this is part of another lesson, which is why I'm not going to spend too much time, but we do use modals in polite situations if we are talking about making a polite request, right? So we use could and can very often, and also may very often when we are making polite requests, right? Could you please help me is one very formal way of asking somebody, right? Could you please help me? You can also say, can you please turn down the music? Maybe somebody's very loud in your neighborhood, or maybe one of your children or your friends are very loud. Can you please turn down the music? Can you please decrease the volume? Right? Can and could we use all the time when we are making polite requests, right? And then last but not least, we can also use may in a polite request, right? May we sit here, right? May we share your table? Let's say you're at a restaurant or you're in the cafeteria. May we sit here, right? There's another group sitting there. May we sit here, right? Waiters all the time, you know, may I help you with something? May I get you something? Right? Could I get you something? Can I get you something? Right? They're all interchangeable. We use all three of them in our requests to people. Right? Any questions on that, guys?
No.
Yeah.
Everything's good? Yes, go ahead, Marcelo. Yep.
Would be more polite than can, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Could is much more polite than can. Could you give me an example of a sentence with could, Marcelo, since you asked the question? You're a brave soul.
For instance, could you lend me your pencil?
Fantastic. Could you lend me your pencil? Right? Yeah. Could you lend me a sheet of paper? Right?
Right.
But then, when people sometimes use can, normal conversation a lot, Marcelo. So, for example, if you're talking to a friend, can I borrow your pencil?
Okay.
Can I borrow your pencil? People say, could I borrow? It's a little unusual. I would say people use can, I, or can plus subject plus the verb borrow a lot. And for could, they don't use it as much, but they could is much more polite, definitely. Could is more polite than can. Yeah, I'm sorry, Heidi, go ahead. May I? For which one?
May I borrow? May I borrow?
Yes, fantastic. May I borrow also works very well. Yep, may I borrow also works very well. And may...
Which is used more?
Between can and may?
Yeah. May I borrow or can I borrow?
I use can.
Can.
I use can a lot, yeah. Mm-hmm. I never say may, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a joke that, so when kids are younger, right, mm-hmm. they say, for example, can you please buy me a chocolate? They talk to their moms or dads like that, mm-hmm. and the dad says, can I or may I? Mm-hmm. Right? This is how they teach kids, right? Because, of course, the person can buy, right, but they're teaching the kids to be polite. So may is more polite than can, mm-hmm. right? May is much more polite than can. May I help you with something? May I help you with something, right? But if as an adult, if I say to somebody, can I or may I, the same way we speak to children, the adult would be they would be angry. They think it's like it's almost rude to ask that to somebody, right? To correct them if they say can, to tell them, oh, you should have asked with may. No, nobody does that. It's used just with children. But we do see may is much more polite than can. Virginia, what's your question about may?
Oh, may is a very formal. Yeah.
May is formal, yeah, but Virginia, the question is really, is may more polite than could? And I think it is, but we don't use it very often, right? So, for example, may is more polite than could, and the least polite is can. But may, we really, like British people, use may a lot.
Yes, British is very common.
They use may a lot, and maybe because they're more polite than American people or people from Canada, I don't know. But it's unusual to hear that much may. Here we say could.
Yes.
Here we say could a lot more, right?
Better.
I'm sorry, guys, go ahead.
Farhan, a question.
Yes, go ahead, Francisco.
I have heard the word lend. For example, could you lend me your car? It's something like, could you borrow me your car?
Fantastic. Absolutely, 100%. Lend is the same as borrow. Yep. Lend is equal to borrow, right? Could you please lend me your car? It's actually, it might even be a polite way of saying borrow, actually, Francisco.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, could you lend me your car? Could you lend me your CD? I want to listen to some music, right? Actually, wait. We don't have CDs anymore. We have MP3s. Never mind, guys. Could you please share your MP3 or your iPod, right? And Marcelo, so your question was, shall I help you with that? Shall I call you on your mobile?
Yeah, if I can use these words.
Shall I? See, the thing with shall is we don't use it in the U.S. But, I mean, we do use it in the U.S., but it's so rare. It's so rare. Like, it's one of those things that, shall I call you on your mobile or on your cell phone? Honestly, it's fine, Marcelo. It's 100% English, but it sounds unusual.
Yeah,
it sounds unusual. It's better to say, could I call you on your cell phone?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But it is proper. What you wrote is proper. It's just, it's unusual to hear.
It's more rich. It's more
polite.
Yeah.
England. They use it in...
They do use it in England, yeah. The British people use may and they use shall. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, British people.
Here we don't hear it, unfortunately, guys. Juan, your question was, could you borrow me your car? Ah. You are a smart man, Juan. You are a smart man. You cannot say, could you borrow me your car? You can ask, could you lend me your car? Right? So borrow does not does not replace lend in a sentence. It just means the same. If you let someone borrow something, you are lending them something. Does that make sense? So if you let someone borrow something, you are lending them something, that object, right? So when you guys ask, could you please lend me your car? But it would be, can I borrow your car, right? Or could I borrow your car? Because when you are lending to another person. When you're borrowing from the other person.
Teacher.
Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, go ahead.
Lend is a British English.
Lend is British, maybe it's British English, Virginia, but we do use it here, and people do say it. It might be more British. Borrow is definitely very American, but lend we do hear lend here as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Marcelo, you're. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Virginia.
No. To me, is American English is more easy.
Yeah. No, American English is easier, I think.
English British.
I think we have a better accent also. I don't understand a lot of British people. But okay. So Marcelo, your question was, you can borrow my pen if you like. Fantastic. Yes, fantastic. Super fantastic. Could you lend me your pen?
Super.
And you can borrow my pen. Absolutely. Muito bem.
Obrigado.
All right, guys. Francisco, can I buy you a drink? Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect.
Okay. Well, sometimes I have heard, can I buy you a drink? Well, most of the time in the movies. But it is saying, can I? Well, I have heard that. Yeah, I think it's very weird. Well, for me, can I buy you a drink?
Well, it's asking for permission, right?
Oh, okay.
So it works. For example, can I buy you a drink? They say a lot. The guy says to a girl, maybe at the bar, right?
Oh, okay.
There's a girl and there's a man and a woman in the bar.
Can I invite you?
Can I invite you? Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Can I invite you? Can I buy you a drink? Can I do whatever, right? Juan wants a tequila, so you have to get some company here soon. Francisco and Juan are gonna get together, go drinking. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Juan is from Mexico DF.
Yeah.
México DF, Juan Alberto.
Yes, así es.
Ah, ok. Sí, lo traes, te recuerdo el otro día.
Okay.
Awesome. Get some Dos Equis, guys, and drink from me because I can't
Yeah. Yeah, it's a delicious
Absolutely.
drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the best, probably, right? So, Virginia, one question. So, your question is, can we go out together tomorrow? You have one extra word in that sentence, Virginia. You're saying, can we go out? There's an extra word. If you take that one word away, it's a perfect sentence. What is the one word that we need to remove? There's the very first word, Virginia. We don't need will. So
we will know in the future.
Yeah, we can take off the can and just put the will. Will we go out together tomorrow?
Yeah, that's right. Fantastic, Marcelo. We can remove the can, right? But we can also remove the will, because you can ask somebody in the present tense about a plan for the future, right?
Yeah.
It's wrong. Will plus can plus model.
Will,
in this case.
Yeah, will plus can together, it's wrong. We need to remove one of them from this sentence, right? It's will we go out together tomorrow, or can we go out together tomorrow, but not together.
But removing can or removing will, both are question?
Both of them are, if they are there in the sentence, like if they're there just will or just can, yeah, they'll make a question.
Those make a question. Okay.
Yeah, will we go out together tomorrow? Or can we go out together tomorrow? Yeah, those are questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions, guys?
No.
Will you carry this for me, please? Yep, fantastic. You're asking for permission, right? You're asking for permission, and it's could you carry this for me? Can you carry this for me? Same situation. We can use the future, or we can also use the could and the can, the two types of modals, right? No more questions?
Not so far.
No.
Okay, fantastic. Let us, guys. It's a piece of cake. That's awesome.
For you.
It is for Marcelo, right? It seems like.
Just kidding.
Marcelo's a brave man. You've said some crazy things, Marcelo.
Yeah. Crazy.
You said, I think one time you said, I am the smartest person in Colingo.
Yeah, I think I'm getting crazy because I'm reading the books.
Yeah, no, I think Marcelo, you have a really good understanding of English idioms, English phrases. You know a lot of very good English phrases, like, I had to head out. I had to, those words are really, really good. Where did you learn them? Just from movies, conversation, or?
I'm over hills. I'm overwhelmed with a lot of English.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of English, but it is very good that you know those native speaker phrases, like I'm going to head out, right?
Okay.
That's really good.
To look at the internet and the books, movies, or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's
searching for new words, new phrases.
Those are awesome. That's awesome. That's how you make your vocabulary, right? Very good. Muito bom.
Obrigado.
Muito bem. De nada.
Você é muito simpático.
All right, guys. All right.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. So let's take a look at this article, guys. So it's from the History Channel, right? So it's obviously about history, and we are learning about a man who defeated Columbus, meaning that he was a European who arrived in what is North America before Columbus. In fact, hundreds of years before Columbus, right? So let's take a look. You guys might already know about this person, but it'll be interesting to see what this article says. So, the Viking explorer who beat Columbus to America. As Columbus Day approaches, the United States commemorates the explorer credited with the first European expedition to North America, a guy named Leif Ericsson. Okay, this is the guy we're talking about. Not Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon. We're talking about Leif Erikson. Okay. Nearly 500 years before the birth of Christopher Columbus, a band of European sailors left their homeland behind in search of a new world. Their high-proud Viking ship sliced through the cobalt waters of the Atlantic Ocean as winds billowed the boat's enormous single sail. This is a very poetic sentence, guys. Very, very poetic. It's saying that these men were on a very large ship, just one ship, or I'm sorry, one ship with one sail, one very big sail, and they were slicing through. The ship was slicing through the blue waters of the Atlantic Ocean, right? And they were Norsemen. So what do we say by Norsemen? After traversing unfamiliar waters, the Norsemen aboard the wooden ship spied a new land, dropped anchor, and went ashore. Norsemen are people from Scandinavia, right? So people from Norway, Sweden, Iceland, Finland, Denmark, those countries, right? Northern Europe, they're known as Norsemen, right? And these people, in many years ago, they were the Viking people. The Viking, that was their race. They were the Vikings, right? So half a millennium before Columbus discovered America, those Viking feet may have been the first European ones to ever have touched North American soil. So we see, this talks a little bit about Ericsson, this man Ericsson, right? He was the explorer, and he was, so let's read about this. Around AD 1000, this is 1,000 years after Christ, Ericsson sailed east to his ancestral homeland of Norway. There, King Olaf I Tryggvason converted him to Christianity and charged him with proselytizing the religion to the pagan settlers of Greenland. Ericsson converted his mother, who built Greenland's first Christian church, but not his outlaw father. So this person, Ericsson, Leif Erikson, he was a very powerful Christian king. He said, I'm going to explore the rest of the world, and I'm going to bring Christianity to other people, right? So he traveled, you know, and what they did was, after they crossed the Atlantic Ocean, these Vikings, they found a rocky, barren land, which is present-day Canada. So they were in the very northern part of North America, right? They landed in what is today Canada, in Newfoundland. Newfoundland. This is the province in Canada that they landed on, right? And the Vikings spent an entire winter. They explored the surrounding region, lush meadows, rivers with salmon, wild grapes, right? So it's it was a very beautiful visit for them. And then after they came, they went back to Greenland. They went from Norway. They went from from Canada. They went back to Europe, right? So we see here, you know, we have evidence that they were here 500 years before Christ, right? So why do you guys think we celebrate Christopher Columbus so much more than we celebrate these guys, even though they were also very important in the history of North America, or the history of America?
Maybe because this discover or this guy was never defounded, this story. Because you thought he was 1,000 years before Christ, right?
1,000 years after Christ. I'm sorry, after Christ. Yes.
Okay. So yes, more or less 500 years before Christopher Columbus.
Absolutely, yeah.
So why it was not defunded at that time? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe because actually, I'll wait to say my opinion later, guys. Francisco, why do you think we don't hear about this guy, Leif Erikson? Why is he not as famous as Cristobal Colon?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Really, I don't know why he's not so well known.
Do you think maybe if he had established a city in North America, maybe he would be more well known?
Yes. They could be more famous, maybe because I don't know, their trips were made accidentally. Something like that. I don't know exactly why they are not so famous like Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, right. People, we're just thinking about the ideas, right? So, Virginia, I like your question. Viking is just, that was the name of these people from Europe, right? So, for example, we have French, German, American. That was their nationality. Even though in those countries they didn't have a nationality at that time, it was a long time ago, but they were the Viking people. They had, if you ask, if you look into some of their pictures, they wore very big helmets with horns. They had big swords. They were really big men, very big, very strong. They lived in the cold all the time. So when they came to North America, it was actually a very different experience for them from what we can tell, right? So why do you think, Virginia, that they're not as famous? Leif Erikson, he's so, nobody knows about this guy compared to Christopher Columbus. Why do you think that?
Me?
Yeah, I mean, why do you think, maybe, what is the reason? Like in history, we don't hear about Leif Erikson so much. Do you know why, or maybe an idea why?
I understood a little bit. The history of America is very important. It's very important.
Absolutely, right. And in this example, we see that 500 years before Columbus, somebody came to America, and nobody really knows why he left or why he came or what he did. We just have small ideas, right? Maybe that's the reason, because we don't have the information. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Juan.
Who discovered this? He was first than Columbus.
That it was 500 years before Columbus. They have, archaeologists have looked at they left some things in Canada. Maybe they left their helmets, and they left a small village in Canada that people investigated, and they said this is 500 years before Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the idea when they looked at the archaeology. Marcelo, why do you think this is the case? Why do we have so much history about Columbus and Portugal and Spain, but nothing about this earlier history that, these Vikings?
Yeah, Cristobal Colombo, telling you the truth, according to the researchers, they say that Brazil, for instance, talking about Brazil too, Brazil is not conquered, because it was not a country when the Portuguese arrived. Brazil was discovered and settled by Cristobal Colombo. According to the researchers, there were thousands of independent Indian tribes here.
Tribes, yeah.
Tribes, yeah. Brazil was useful to Portuguese colonial power as a commodity supplier. For instance, Brazil wood, cotton, sugarcane, gold, diamonds, whatever.
Yeah.
So, summarizing, according to some researchers here in Brazil, Cristobal Colombo was the first person to get here, to arrive here in Brazil.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, right? The more research that they're doing, they're finding out that there were so many connections between these explorers, right?
Have you heard about it?
I haven't heard that particular one, Marcelo. I have read that, here in the history that we learn, we hear that Christopher Columbus landed in Bahamas or maybe Dominica, Santo Domingo, and he just, he said, this is for Spain and this is for Zeus, for God, and I'm going home, right? He didn't do much of the exploration, really, from what we heard. There were people later, Francisco Pizarro, I think, is one guy, and then Hernan Cortés in Mexico. He came and he was a conquistador. He killed the Aztec Empire, destroyed the Aztec Empire. Juan, I think what you're saying is right. Could you explain what you wrote, Juan?
Well, or I was trying to say that maybe it's because he arrived in a land who nobody habited.
Mm-hmm.
There was no
I'm sorry, Juan, go ahead.
unsettled land. Okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's my idea because he was no known until now.
Yeah, he didn't really find anything, right? He came to Canada, but there wasn't a lot of people. There were no people there.
Maybe he just found land, but no people.
Yeah, yeah. I think that might be the reason, right? Maybe they made a village and they maybe stayed for one winter, but then they left, right? They didn't want to make this a colonial empire. I think Portugal and Spain, they came to America and they wanted to make an empire, right?
Yeah.
So they were fighting for God, for gold, for
They
for
chose
glory.
a bad land to conquer.
Exactly. Maybe they're just visiting. It's a vacation, Juan.
Well, maybe.
It's just a vacation, right? Vacation to North America. But yeah, guys, I think you guys are asking the right questions. We scientists don't really know. Historians and archaeologists are still trying to figure out, right, what these Vikings did, what was their contribution, how long did they stay, did they make more trips, did they go back to Europe and come back maybe, you know, they weren't a developed people. They came, they saw, they left. They didn't come and saw and conquer.
I noticed. I realized that you really like history, isn't it?
I love history. I actually
Yeah.
studied history in college.
Great, great.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I studied history and biology, so I'm the most confused person in the world.
Biology, okay.
Biology and history, no similarity between the two, except for evolution, I guess. So, guys, any other questions about this article? I have another class starting now. We can continue if you guys want to join in that class. But any other questions from this class?
No. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
I hope to
welcome.
see you
No,
soon.
it's clear to me.
Absolutely, Virginia. It's good to see you as well, and Marcelo, and Juan, and Francisco.
Nice to see you, folks. Bye-bye. See you around.
Bye.
Alrighty.
Thank you
See
very
you
much.
guys later.
Okay.
See you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, Francisco. Bye-bye. It's a little bit of a challenge when you're feeding other people, but I'm also nervous actually. Every time I cook, sometimes I feel nervous. Maybe other people won't like my food, but so far I've invited people for dinner and they've enjoyed my food. I think they didn't say anything negative. They gave me constructive criticism, which means they are helping you.
I see. I understand.
Yeah. So they tell me, oh, maybe a little less spices next time or something like that. How's it going, Virginia? Or is it Virginia? How do you want me to pronounce your name? I'm sorry.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, nice to meet you as well. Were you in one of my classes before? I think, Virginia, you came to one of my classes before. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good. It was a good day. I think there's a lag. Let's see. We'll see what's going on here. Excuse me, guys. Did all the work. Francisco, how's it going?
Hi, Farhan. How are you?
Good. Good to see you as well.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Yeah. Nice to see you. It's I think we will see where Virginia is. I think maybe there's a lag with our connection, so going to try to see if we can help her. But anyway, Francisco, how was your day?
Fine, Farhan. It was very busy. I was working too hard. Right now, I'm ready for this class.
Ready for the lesson? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Hey, Heidi, how's it going?
Hello, nice.
We believe that everybody knows that he discovered America. even though there were many people here before. Yeah, Virginia, go ahead.
What's the date? What's the date to celebrate Columbus Day?
It's the second Monday in October in the United States. We always celebrate it on the second Monday in October. Yeah.
That's
because
here in Mexico we celebrate Christopher Columbus the 12th.
The 12th of October, right?
Yeah, October the 12th.
Exactly, right? And October the 12th is actually, I think, the real day, but for some reason, because in the United States, we want to have a long weekend. We'd like to have 3-day weekends, so we make it the second Monday of October, so that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all 3 days are off, right? So people get that extra holiday. So that's really the idea, and we're going to learn about how, honestly, he didn't discover America, right? He was the first European, maybe, or was he? That's the question, right? When we learn about history, we always learn that Christopher Columbus was the first person to discover America. Well, that's definitely not true, because there were many people here, there were many humans here. But he also really was not the first European to discover America, because there was another person who came before him, right? So we're going to learn about that person. And before I go on, Marcelo, tudo beleza?
Tudo beleza, professor?
No, that's great, Marcelo. Welcome to class.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, Virginia, I speak just one phrase in Portuguese. That's tudo beleza. That's it. I don't know anything else.
I think that you speak Portuguese.
No,
very well.
No, I don't. So okay, yeah, guys, thank you so much, Virginia. Welcome to class. Heidi, Francisco, also.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. We lost a couple people. We had Gregory in the class very briefly. I think maybe he was disconnected. And Marcelo, I guess you're watching the class and not joining. Hopefully everything is okay as well. So everyone, welcome. Just wanted to begin today by talking about the two main topics. I'm just going to briefly introduce them. So we are going to learn about modals of ability today, right? And modals of ability and permission, actually, both of them. And modals of ability and permission are used when we are talking about things we can do and when we try to get permission from other people. They rely on the same words. So the same modals can be used for both ability and for permission. So that's the first part. I'm going to go into more details about that in a few minutes. The second part of the class, we are going to learn about history, actually. So it's an article about history. Earlier this month, actually, October, I believe it was maybe 7 or 8, I don't remember exactly, but the second Tuesday in October, the second Monday in October, at least in the United States, is always celebrated as Columbus Day. Columbus Day was created to celebrate the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, who in many other languages, I actually don't know, I don't know about Portuguese, unfortunately, Virginia, but in Spanish, we call him Cristobal Colon. I believe his name is Colon Francisco, right?
Yes, Cristobal Colon.
Cristobal Colon, yeah. So I think that's how you write his last name. I don't actually remember. But so this is the man that in history, in at least American history and Western history, we...
Nice to see you again.
Yep, nice to see you as well. So, Virginia, I was wondering if you can hear me. I just wanted to know how your day was. How was your day? How was your day?
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Today?
Yes.
Was great.
That's great.
I worked very much.
You worked a lot?
hard.
Uh-huh. You worked a lot?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Are
And
you
you?
so? Yeah. My day was good. I was relaxing. I enjoyed working. I went outside. Today was a nice day here. Weather, it wasn't rainy. It wasn't too cold, so I was able to go outside and work with or just walk and work and stuff like that. So it worked out. But how do I pronounce your name? Do I say Virginia or do I say Virginia?
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, I'm sorry because
Yes,
I
yes.
noticed
No problem.
the accent. So yeah, I'll call you Virginia. That's easier.
Uh-huh.
And are you from Brazil, Virginia?
I'm from Brazil.
You're from
I
Brazil. Okay.
live in I live in Minas Gerais state.
Minas Gerais. Belo
Yes.
Horizonte.
And near Belo Horizonte.
Near Belo.
Divinópolis,
I
Divinópolis City.
I don't know that city, unfortunately. I only know Belo Horizonte.
No.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Brazil. I
Uh,
just know some things. Maybe the big cities and some of the states. That's it.
have you ever go to Brazil?
No, I haven't, but I
Uh-huh.
want to visit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hello, Fatman.
Hey, how's it going, Grigori?
Everything well. How are you?
Good, good. It was a good day today. Uh, Relaxed, got some work done, um, cooked, cleaned, did all the work.
Good for men. I can't cook. I try,
Really?
but yes, I try, but my wife criticizes me. No, no, not good, not tasty for her. So not.
Yeah, it's the same with my father. He says he can cook, but nobody in my family has ever tasted his food.
And if I make it for myself, it was good. I like what I cook, but for family, not so much.
Yeah, I know.